right? Just want me to bloop it in?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, they're going to add it.
I hope you keep that audio.
Oh snap! They must be fighting now.
White milk! The first alcoholic, dairy-based protein drink for bodyguards! Buy bodyguards!
Watch your profits soar high as a crow. Cool.
Alright, time to go see
I
what's in.
need a mask. Magic!
Yeah, man, I thought he had a whole roll.
We really sized that for how short that roll was.
That man made a whole new table. Look at this, crazy.
I'm so excited about this table.
So wait, where'd you get the inspiration?
The inspiration? I don't know. I was making a lot of stuff out of this plastic, and then I literally cut on it one time, and I was like, oh cool, that cuts really easy because this is just ABS plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured if I made it, also, how many times have we cut carbon?
And wish we
Tons
had
of times. And I'm always like leaning on my hood or leaning on like the table we have is like this long.
Dude, we used to.
So it's always drooping over one end and it's like never straight. So this way I can roll it out, measure it exactly straight.
Have a nice place to store it. That was another thing.
Yeah, now everything's stored. I know how much of each thing I have in stock. And I kept ordering like same like versions of this gel coat, even though like this one's like real empty, this one's like real empty. But I didn't know because they were like hiding behind stuff. So everything's real organized now. Got some sick lights.
Yeah, they killed the LED game right there.
Added a power strip to the front of it. And then I have a little bin back here that has all my carbon scraps. So if I'm making a small part, I can just pull the bin out and grab a bunch of scraps. I don't have to cut a whole new piece because I always forget about that bin I have. So yeah, this should be.
Got a fresh banner in the back.
Yeah, I got that banner. They changed the logo, so they're like, hey, by the way, here's a new one. So thank you, Fiberglass. You guys are the shit. And at least now we can like show off your products in
an organized way.
In a slightly better way. At least. They're all professional. We're here like in this dirty ass shop. Like, hey, look at this. But so this actually just makes it a lot easier. And let's see. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this piece. 12K, but oh, and another big thing about this is so I got these little tapes, so I can just measure right here. I don't have to like keep rolling out a measuring tape. But then also this top is just screwed into here, and I can get these a 5x8 sheet of this ABS plastic. It's like an 1/8 inch thick, for like $30 from that sign supply place. It's a little bit bigger. This table's, I think it's like 92 inches long by 63 inches wide. And I made that because the really wide rolls of carbon come 62 inches. So that's good, but I made these little supports on here a little bit too wide. So I have to cut those back because they're about an inch too wide. But still works for what we're doing, but a little tweaking. But at least now we have a legit table. So.
Yeah, the lights by far sets it off. And we're live.
We're live. So, this is the diffuser mold. We're trying something new this time. Whereas usually I make the reverse, well, make the plug and then make the mold off of the plug. It was a lot easier to construct this way, which is basically the shape of the mold instead of the plug. But this is made out of ABS plastic, all epoxy together with a bunch of body filler, and then to get a really nice surface finish, I painted it, which is why it's bright green. Also because that was a cool color, so.
Yeah,
Xavier and I were like sitting in there like, what would be a crazy ass color?
you need a really vibrant paint to make it pop.
But, so this is kind of just like a testing and see if this works. If it doesn't, I can always make a part off of this and then make a mold off of that part. So as long as I get one good solid part off this, and this doesn't really work out too well, I can always do that. But it's pretty strong. I don't see why it wouldn't work, but.
I guess what the next step would be was prep it? Or...
Yeah, so we're gonna PVA it, wax it 3 times first and then PVA it. And then get into cutting all the carbon. We're gonna do a layer of the 3K carbon first. It'll be a layer on each side. Start with both of the sides. So this line is really nice and uniform. And then I'm gonna put a piece of 3K over the center and let it hang off a little bit. And then we're gonna use the Definicel foam, an 1/8 inch sheet, and use a piece of foam on the tops of both of these guys, and then a piece of foam on the top of this guy. I'm gonna keep it away from the actual curve here though.
You said, so what's the purpose of the curve again? Like I said, it helps with
the last little bit. I mean, honestly, it might be too aggressive of a curve, especially this guy, to really keep it attached. But at this point, it's going to be hanging so far off, it's not going to really matter. But so it's literally just to extract as much, just keep as much low pressure air underneath as possible, moving as fast as possible. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see. I do plan on taking this guy to a wind tunnel in the future, so.
Damn, that's gonna be wild.
I can't wait for that.
Have you found any wind tunnel places, or?
Yeah, there's one in I think Ohio, and then there's a couple on like the West Coast, but over here on the East Coast there's not that many. But look who it is. The terrarium boys.
The beer man.
The beer boy. He brought beer too.
I did bring beer.
I'm gonna go get it. It's in the Prius.
You got a Prius now?
Prius.
I got a Prius. What do you think of it?
So funny to hear him say he's got a Prius.
I know.
What the hell was I talking about?
Here, there's a lot of foam.
I don't remember. Thank you. Okay, so sheeted 3K, the Definicel foam, just the 1/8 inch thick stuff to add some real strength to this part, and then sheeted 12K carbon.
Okay.
And that should make it really, really strong and as light as possible. We don't want the edges flopping.
All right, cool.
Okay, so this is the Definicel foam. I'm going to try to put at least in the center section, just to make it extra sturdy. That's also where it's going to mount.
What's the benefit, I guess, or the difference between this foam and like the honeycomb stuff?
The honeycomb stuff is like, I feel like better for getting around complex curves and stuff. And it's also, I've only seen it come in one thickness, which is probably a little thinner than this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thinnest that Fiberglass sells, this Definicel H80. Definicel actually has a bunch of different types of foam, but this is the one that Fiberglass carries. And yeah, I mean, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out the center section here, and then I'm gonna have 2 angled sections that are left. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use whatever's left of those on the main section of the 2 outer sections.
Okay.
So it's not gonna match up perfectly. It'll actually be, let's see. It'll almost be perfect actually. We'll see. So what we're gonna do is layer of 3K, another layer of 3K, the Definicel foam, and then a layer of 12K, which is going to, I'm guessing is gonna be overkill.
But why not?
But why not? Exactly. So I'll probably make another. Well, I mean, I guess. Well, we'll test it. Once we've tested it, we'll see how much overkill it is, or if it's not even overkill at all. So let's see how easy this cuts with this bad boy. Like a dream. My thing's moving. Actually, let's go test this on top of it and see what it looks like, because it might be perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut a 1/2 inch off. See, it hangs over a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So you want it to be perfect, or you just have like a little?
I want it to be slightly under. I want it to end up like there.
Okay.
So it'll wrap around this, the last carbon will wrap around this, and then not have to, like, I mean, if I got it right towards the end, it'd be nice, but I don't want to have a bubble or barrier either. I might actually have to use a heat gun on the end here to keep that curve in there, but this stuff you can form with heat, so it should be easy. And I also want it to be a bit shorter too. I didn't bring my Sharpie. Final cut. Pro.
It has a weird smell. I might be smelling the table.
Yeah. I'm gonna mark these templates I just made so I don't have to do this all again on the next sheet. So the next one I make, I already know the perfect size for them. Match this boy center up, I think. Center.
Wrist work with the marker though. Damn. That's the bad hand, or was that the good hand?
Yeah, it's my bad. My bad wrist. She's alright though. Getting better and better every day.
So that's like my favorite part of using a marker, when you get a good flow.
Yeah. Nice line. All right, so we left off with me cutting all the materials and everything for the diffuser. Realized I ran out of the epoxy resin I was going to use. I was going to use the System 1000. So I bagged this up and just made sure it didn't get any dust on it. It's still got the wax and the PVA and everything on it. I ended up actually getting the System 2000 epoxy because I've actually realized I never used it before, and it's supposed to be stronger than System 1000, so give it a shot. Fiberglass sent me this stuff, so shout out to you guys. You guys are the best. Got to me fast, even though COVID is still happening. But other than that, took some time to clean up the shop. Fairly clean. Built a room back there. I'm actually just going to time lapse this whole thing because you've seen me do this, but I'm going to do a regular layup of the 3K, then the foam and 12K and all that other stuff. So we already went over that. So. It's really
Damn.
Also, my diff case is leaking. Figured it out. Actually, we should weigh this. It's not fully trimmed. You can see there's a little dangly there. There's a little edge on here. But since the mold finish was so slick.
I was just about to ask, is that clear coat?
Yeah, no, not yet. I won't
Damn.
clear it. Because you gotta clear your carbon parts, people, remember.
I got the mirror finish off the first try.
And then I got, this is what these little guys were made for. And there's a recess in here, but
Specifically for that?
specifically for this. But so on this part I made, I'm gonna keep this one for my car. There were some small like blemishes on here and like little tiny bubbles here that while I was vacuuming it, I had an issue where the underside of the mold was taking in air and it was deforming it. So I could only run it under like a very light vacuum and then I just had to let it sit. So I think with me jostling it around for like an hour, I introduced some air to it.
Jostling. I never heard that word. Heard it first.
But so for me personally, I don't care about small stuff like this. I'm probably gonna round this out a little bit, put a little bit of epoxy on it, sand it again, and once I clear it, you won't be able to see it. But for anybody that is gonna buy one of these that I'm gonna make, I'll make sure that they're not gonna leave here without being perfect. So. But they will have this. I'm gonna keep the outside, this matte carbon that you like the finish you get from the peel ply.
That's not even clear coat, it's just straight out.
Yeah. That's just the finish you get from the peel ply, the blue sheet stuff.
Okay.
But you can see like where the foam ends, it like kind of dips down. It's actually pretty thick. It's like almost like a 1/4 of an inch thick in this section. So right here on these edges is actually where it's the thinnest, but since it's a curve like this and it's got these little walls, it's actually super stiff. But all of the big flat areas where it would actually want to wobble, it's rock hard. I mean, it's chilling on here.
Dude, yeah.
You could stand on this if you want to, but we're done.
That's going to be the test for all carbon fiber. If you can stand on it, it's sturdy.
Yeah, but let me find the scale real quick.
Oh.
Again, this isn't fully trimmed, but it's 90% there, so this is pretty much. Gotta zero that out. What people think I'm cheating. Let's see. So less than 7 pounds. And this bad boy is large.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sell these in 3 different sizes. This will be the medium size, and obviously, I feel like I haven't actually gone over this. Right here on this lip here, there's gonna be 2 fins here. This isn't just one open piece. I haven't made them yet, but
might have to flip
we'll
it
go through that.
I can't really see it. Can we flip it over?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
So these sections right here, there's actually gonna be fins that are gonna be epoxied. Actually, I was thinking about offering it in 2 different versions, an epoxied like permanent version, and then a version where it actually bolts in. So if you destroy your center fins going over something, you can just replace them. That's the idea of these. But
So I guess the larger versions, you said you're going to add one more fin
the
or
larger
something?
version will have 2 more tunnels
Okay.
on the outsides.
Damn, that's
and they're
gonna be-
not really gonna add much downforce, I don't think. It's really more so gonna be keeping tire squirt away from your diffuser. I really need to fix my diff. Just looking at that spot. It's only been sitting under here for a day. And we just
Yeah, we had a whole video with that process.
we just sealed my diff, and I thought we did it pretty well, but clearly not well enough. And I'm actually gonna mount this. So they're not gonna come with any mounting hardware. You're gonna have to figure out what works best for you, because these are gonna be universal, so you gotta be able to mount your own diffuser. But I definitely recommend mounting it in a couple locations just to keep it as sturdy as possible. But so what I'm gonna do is, I'm using these guys. This is like my old frame end where my bumper used to bolt, but I'm not running bumpers, so I'm gonna run these with the carbon fiber tube in like an X pattern. And then you wanna mount it to the actual piece with the foam in it. And use a really big washer so you get the most surface area. So what I'm gonna do is run one of these this way, another one this way, and then also triangulate them so where the two bars meet, I'm gonna actually wrap them together. And then the outer tunnels, which are probably gonna come out, you know, around here somewhere, I'm gonna run another one of these straight down to that tunnel. And that tunnel will bolt obviously to the center diffuser. So it'll be pretty sturdy. And then what the idea I'm kicking around is running two quick latches, the same ones I run on the hood. This one is literally stolen from my hood. In the front of it, so the most annoying spot to mount your diffuser, you can just come underneath and you still have to get underneath there and pop it, but at least you don't have to go under there and like try to line up bolts. Oh my gosh, it's like the most annoying.